All right, maybe this has worked. We'll see. All right, who's the number one primo you would target this week? So, without knowing format, um, I think in Supercoach it's probably McRae or Dawson for me. If you don't want to go value and you want to go absolute top line, then it's probably Sarong at 613k. I think is the one I'd be looking at. Otherwise, it would have been Merritt, who's already gone. Otherwise, Butters, I think, still fine as an option too, but obviously very top priced. Okay, so trades this week. I have, well, Massimo out is the big one. Crazy. My team's really stuffed. Really stuffed. I've gone Dacos, Merritt, Green, Whitfield, and Martin, hoping Meek and McRae go huge so I can hit one top 1k. Yeah, yep. That is a great start to the week if you've got all of them. Nice. Very nice. All right, I need to fix this one too. All right, so Massimo out is good because I can now I can keep Massimo and trade someone else. Um, probably Sanders instead. And then I can move whoever into the midfield. Yep. Yep. Okay, good. Does that work? Yeah, my team. And then we put Massimo on field to take Howe's score. And then can we loop Graham with someone? We probably can. Hello, everyone. By the way, for those that have joined, I will probably be doing 20 minutes worth of Q&A just while I try and fix my own teams. And then I'll be buggering off. Yeah, Massimo will cause some mayhem. I think so too. But for anyone that's got Howe's score stuck on the bench, then Massimo out is probably good news. Yeah, because you can loophole him, which is great. Why am I fading Walsh? I just don't trust the back. I really don't. I mean, like a month ago, he was uh, on the edge of apparently getting surgery and being out for a significantly longer period of time. But I don't think that just goes away in a period of time. So I'm really concerned about that. I think I'd rather just stay off. He's cheap, but not so cheap that I think the risk is worthwhile. Like if he was Dawson's price, then by all means. But at 580k, then I'm not as keen. In fantasy, he's 900k. So like I think I'd rather just pick someone more durable, take on a different risk. Hayden, thank you for your nice words. I feel like the last couple of weeks I haven't been as concise or as clear with my thought as what I would have liked, but I appreciate the kind words nonetheless. I feel particularly scattered this week. Skipped gone this week to VC Houston into Row 162 hertz, but do you think Houston can put up a big one against the Saints? I mean, yeah, the Saints are a dream matchup for halfback, so if he's going to put up a big score, you'd imagine it'd be this week, especially at home. And if the Saints look pretty lackluster again, I could see him going large for sure. All right, so who do I loop here instead? I loop Wilson, right? No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work, does it? Um, I'm probably looping Sharp then. Sharp on Saturday night into Sharp into Graham, and we'll just take whichever one of those two. We take Howe's score up here. For those that are following at home, I'm still doing the same trade in, which is Garcia and Dawson. I'm trading out Fisher now, given he'll be sub, and then Sanders. Dempsey, I don't believe is going to be the sub for Geelong. I don't believe Garcia or Wilson are going to be the sub for the Saints, and I really stuffed up by not putting the emergency on Thomas here. So that sucks. Just sucks. Super coach. Let's see. So Fisher out here once again. Fisher, like absolute killer. I still think I'm trading out Massimo here, even though he's got a low break even, and just rolling with Williams. Yeah, I'm not taking that score. I guess I'm looping Wilson in the midfield, straight fielding Garcia, straight fielding Darcy, straight fielding Dempsey. Scary, scary stuff. Because I can hold Massimo there and take Graham's score. But does that do anything? Not really. If Wilson scores well, I guess I can bring Massimo back in, put Closey in defense, take Wilson's score. But I've got other ways of taking Wilson's score. So I think I just roll with Williams for the week here. And then in Bolter, let's have a look. So I've got McRae out. Sorry, I got McRae in for Fisher. I've got Sweet in for Massimo. And what's the last trade I'm doing here? I'm probably bringing in a rookie for someone else. I don't think I've got enough to turn Jackson or LDU into anything worthwhile. So probably just bring in a rookie or Chapman here. I think it'll be Williams, but I guess it could be Gallagher if he was the sub, which is possible. I have to make a call on that though before the Dogs game, which is frustrating. Okay. And then for fantasy where I don't have Gone, I've got Marshall into Dawson, VCC still. All right, let's answer some questions. Ken Baker, can I get unbanned from the Discord? I don't know why you were banned in the first place, so it's very hard for me to determine if you are worthy of being unbanned. Sorry, mate. Is there anyone not in your team that you think is a must-have? I mean, there are lots of guys I would like. I don't think anyone's really a must-have, though. You can miss people and still have, like, really good seasons. Would you loop Graham with Wilson or Hugo Garcia? So I'd loop Graham with Garcia. I mean, Garcia's playing more on the ball than Wilson is, and against Port that could, I think, choke on the outside. I think I'd rather go Garcia, but it's obviously a bit of a weird one given Wilson's been best 22 and impressive each week. So I can see why people would go Wilson over Garcia. And given I already stuffed up the Thomas Cadman call in fantasy, maybe don't listen to me. I got 2006 in fantasy last week, top 21 in the comp. Nice. Out of Fisher, Williams, and Sanders, who are the most important outs? I'd trade Fisher and Sanders and hold Williams. Do you take Garcia, Wilson, or Lazaro on field? I would take. I mean, it once again depends on the format, but I think Lazaro in full games has actually scored all right in Supercoach, hasn't he? I can't tell which one of these is full games or not. No, maybe just play like Wilson and Garcia. I don't know. That's hard, but I mean, I could understand Lazaro over Wilson. So in fantasy, now trade out Fisher before Z Will. Yeah, definitely trade out Fisher before Zach Williams. Fisher confirmed sub, will lose money. Zach Williams is not. He could hit his break even. Would you trade Sarong in this week and Bont next week, or hold off on upgrading so I can get either Green and Bont? So I can get both Green and Bont next week. So I think you get Sarong this week and then Bont, one of Bont or Green next week for sure is what I would do, Liam. The points that you get this week, say it's extra 50 points on a rookie, it's basically 2 or 3 point per game edge on the other premium next week. Sarong's got the good buy. I think I want all 3 of those, but yeah, I'd probably get Sarong this week, and then maybe you have a situation where like Bont doesn't have a good game, so you can wait another week on him. How do you know Fisher is the sub? It has been announced by Cleary, I believe. Broke that news today. I know your projected Supercoach score doesn't matter, but what is everyone's projected? Mine's 25.77. Oh, that's a big old nice score. Mine's 23.46, but I don't think it factors in Marshall's 110 projected. So what does that have me at? 24.56? I imagine like Garcia's got pretty low projected, but it feels like some of these other ones are overs. So we'll see how we go. Field and Graham or Williams is kind of interesting. Who I go there? I okay. What do you think of Hugo Garcia's job security worth fading and delaying upgrades for a week with no obvious rookies? I think you just go get the upgrade cycle regardless of whether you end up with a dead rookie or not. So I'm not like totally sure on Garcia, but even if Garcia wasn't around this week, I'd probably still get like Biggie just because he probably gets 2 more weeks of games at a minimum. It lets me keep upgrading. I would just keep upgrading rather than worrying about or like trying to predict Garcia getting dropped. Thoughts on Errol Goulden? I mean, Errol's gone through his easy part of the fixture and hasn't particularly set the world on fire in both formats. So I'm happy to keep avoiding him now. He obviously had one big game against Essendon, had a good game against West Coast. Hawks is nice this week, but then GWS is hard. Carlton is hard. So like his fixture isn't particularly good, and he's got the early bye. So I think Goulden is someone I would not be touching. Also, after starting Tim English over Max Gorn, is it season over? Yeah, that sucks not owning Max Gorn, not gonna lie. Will Tom Green be cheap enough to warrant trading in pre-buy? Um, I think in Supercoach he definitely is. In fantasy, I'm not sure he's gotten cheap enough that I would consider him next week. 955. I don't know what his break even was. So I'm not sure how much more he'll go down to. I mean, at low mid 900s, maybe in fantasy, definitely I think in Supercoach, but it depends on how many early buy players you have. Dawson or Walsh. So I've been weighing up this decision all week as well in both formats, and I think I'm Dawson over Walsh. Just don't trust the back. I do trust Dawson to get back to form and the Crows to figure it out eventually. Should I take Windsor score or play Zach Williams? So let's assume this is Supercoach. What did Windsor score? Oh, they haven't played yet. No, they have played yet. Where is his score? 69. I would. Oh, that 69's tough. No, I'd probably roll the dice on Williams. He was trending well before the injury. I mean, yeah, of his full games, 4 or 5 are above 69. So I'd take Williams over 69. Garcia or Biggie? I take Garcia. Garcia gets like 70% of his scores from tackles and Port give up the least in the comp. Yep, they are a lower stoppage team for sure. But I think the thing that works in Garcia's favor is that they've also got a whole bunch of lightly framed mids that he actually could keep up with, which is nice. But yeah, I can see that being a reason to take Wilson over Garcia. I just don't think Port are particularly friendly for wings or outside types, which is what Wilson is. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of his. But I'm scared of fielding either of them. So like that's like I've got both on field for fantasy, just straight field. It's awful. Like having a 77 and being able to bench one of them would have been ideal, but yeah. Worth swapping my trade from Williams to Massimo. Yeah, I'd hold Williams and trade Massimo. Yep, for sure. Unless holding Massimo gets you a good bench rookie score. Have the E on Howes defense and McCutcheon on mid bench, trading Dempsey, Williams, Bonner to Raul, Dawson, Garcia. Thinking if McKercher scores well, I'll hold Mass, but if not, Mass out. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, with Massimo, if you've got a bench rookie that scores a good score and he's the only way of getting it, then take it. In fantasy, now that I'm getting Fisher out, I have extra money. Do I now get Heaney over McRae or just stick with McRae? Oh, you get Heaney over McRae. I'd still go the value guy. I mean, Heaney is very much full price now, it feels like, with where he's at. So he could obviously keep going higher again. That's definitely possible. Don't get me wrong. But I think I'd just take the value guy in McRae. To be honest, I've been considering going McRae over Dawson this week and floating like nearly 400k in doing so. Makes it pretty tricky though, because yes, with Sweet down next week, or is the downgrade option next week. I mean, I could do it still. We'll see. If McRae goes well this week, I'll have to get in fantasy next week, which is actually pretty frustrating because Bont's probably the better buy next week than Dawson is this week. Maybe I have to keep missing McRae. That's annoying. Do I trade Williams or Sharp? I would trade Williams. Yeah, probably Williams. We're taking the pout on Bailey Dale and Taylor Adams to go 2 up, 1 down. I mean, I think it's going to backfire, to be honest. Feels like you're forcing it, but if you want to take the punt, so be it. Have the E on Housen. Oh, yeah, we did that one. The Bombers run is disgusting. North Richmond, West Coast twice in next 8 games. I mean, I think the thing is that North and Richmond are great. West Coast is definitely harder than what it has been. Parrish will be a popular boy this week. Potentially. I mean, he still didn't look 100%. He's still recovering off something. He is, 500k with he got a 125. He's going to be sub 500k in Supercoach, which is actually crazy price. And what's he in this? Oh, wow. He's going to be, yeah, he will be popular. I think for sure. I can see that. Jetty, do we trust Bever to keep McRae in his role? Yeah, I think so. I think we do trust him just because he said like they finally found the right mix for McRae in last week's prep. Now, I know Bevo can say one thing and do another, but I kind of I tend to believe that that's true, that he'll stick with it. Do you think Dempsey will be sub? No, I don't think Dempsey will be sub. If I don't have Bont or Green, should I do Bont this week and Green next? Or Walsh this week? What's Bont's break even? I'm going to assume this is a super question because like if he scores well this week, his break even goes down to 97. You could, I mean, I guess it's against Hawks, but you could probably wait. Like you could go Green next week and Bont in 2 weeks, or you could go maybe Bont next week, and I think what's Green's break even going to be 137. So you could wait another week on. Actually, that was with a 95. This will be achievable. Yeah, so like you could go Bont this week for sure, or you could just space them out over the next 2 weeks and not force it this week. Can you move Closey back and lip Graham and Wilson? I think so. That's wait for Supercoach. No, I'm not doing that. I'll loop Wilson with not sure who. And on this side, no, doesn't work. McRae or Dawson in Supercoach. I've currently got McRae over Dawson just because I want the extra money to do an upgrade to like a Sarong or someone like that next week. But I don't mind bringing in Dawson at all. If I could bring in both this week, I probably would. Who to get 526k in Supercoach in any position? I mean, it's McRae. And if you've already got McRae, then I would not do another upgrade. Should I trade Williams or Dempsey? I would trade... depends on format. I'd probably trade Williams and hold Dempsey just because forwards suck. What eSport used to call. I used to commentate Hearthstone for a number of years. Hey, mister, how are you?
Hi.
Hello. We're just doing a live stream. Do you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah.
Go on, you say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, that's good work. All right, we're just answering some questions here. So, would you rather field Zach Williams or Will Graham? Which one, Archer? Williams or Graham?
Graham.
Graham. Okay, that's good. Thank you for your advice, bud. I'll tell everyone to field. Thank you. All right. Is it worth going early on Garcia over Biggie? No, I wouldn't go early on Garcia. I'd rather get Biggie. Would you grab Sarong this week and grab English only next week, or Dawson this week and have enough cash left over for English and McRae next week? I'd rather get Dawson this week and then get English and McRae next week. Yeah, that sounds good. Who is the best rookie to get in fantasy instead of Sweet to cover Fisher? So, I mean, it's like Hugo Garcia, then Sweet, and then I think all of the rest of the rookies are pretty rubbish. If I had to go one, it's probably Hardiman, Corey, but I think it's like obviously a risk that he gets dropped next week. With Fish being sub, he could be subbed out this week as well. Is Massimo a must trade? No, I say he's not a must trade, given that he's not playing. So if you've got a good rookie score that you want to loop on and he's the only way to loop it on, then I'm all in favor of keeping him just for that like purpose. All right, I've got probably 5 more minutes, guys, and then I'm going to jump off. Thoughts on Mac Andrews? A really interesting one for Supercoach. I don't know what his scoring's like been in fantasy. Let's have a quick look because I think he's like 390k in Supercoach. It's been pretty good here too, to be honest. Nice. He should be going up in money. Yeah, really interesting. 360k. He's got a 11 break even. He's tonned basically in every game so far. West Coast this week, which you could score well on. North and Brisbane in the next two as well, which you could score well on. So it's just a really tricky price point with Mac Andrew because one, he needs to keep scoring at about that ton range to be worthwhile for the next couple of weeks to make enough money. And we've already got so many defenders. Like I'm still trying to get Roberts back here, Closey back here as well. Like I've got too many. So I think I'd struggle with him. But like I don't like he's a pretty interesting pod. It's just the wrong price point at this time of the year. Is it too late to trade in Flanders or is the value gone? In fantasy, I think the value's almost gone. In Supercoach, it's probably similar. I think you can trade him in though. Like he's obviously a top two forward. Who is more of a must, Houston, Walsh, or McRae? It's a tricky one. It's very, very much a tricky one because Houston's got the good buy. But for like, it depends on where you're at with your defenders because even though he's got the good buy, I think I'd rather get Stewart 500k in a few weeks and I'd rather get Houston this week. So I think you just got to plan out your side like that. Otherwise, if you're getting Houston this week, I think it's a decent option. And then I'd have McRae over Walsh. So yeah. I have 600k in the bank. Should I go Jai Clark to Bont next week? Yeah, that sounds good to me. Supercoach question. Field one of Darcy, Garcia, or Wilson. Or no, I wouldn't take Cadman's 53, and I'd probably field Darcy over Garcia. Houston will go cheaper with Dawson, McRae, or New. I mean, it's similar to the last answer, so it just depends on where your defense is at and who you want to fill it out with, how confident you are on Dawson and McRae. I think I'd still go McRae over Houston. Like, I could get Houston over McRae this week, but I won't. Also, like, forwards lines where I'm struggling, I want to get rid of some of these rookies. You know, especially with Cadman, he'll be going next week based on his score. There's a chance Darcy goes next week. I want to be able to swing McRae forward, Fife forward, and stop fielding these, rookies. Get Reed in there as well. So that's my plan. My on-field is terrible this week, but I'm hoping to fix it next week. What made you change plans on McRae after not being keen on your Sunday video? I was probably in full Bevo hate mode, and I still am a little bit, but I think he did obviously talk about them finding a role for McRae, which they thought had the right mix. Looking at McRae's numbers, he wasn't in Libba's role. Richards was. So Libba coming back shouldn't affect or impact him. And I think like players like Harms haven't been particularly good, who I think was in the side, right? So let's have a look at this dog's side. Where are you? Is Harms in here? Yeah, Harms. So like I think there's others that can be dropped before McRae. So I don't think he's a sub risk now. It was really just part of managing him when he was coming back. Could still backfire, but he's at a price point where I think I'm willing to take the risk. Thoughts on Kelly next week in fantasy at 1%? I mean, I love Josh Kelly. The problem is that he's got that early buy, but I love Josh Kelly. I think his scoring's picked up though with Cogs out, and once Cogs comes back, that's a little bit tricky. Do you think Dale's a good pick up with Ed Richards sent to the midfield? I mean, I think no, because in all likelihood, he now goes back to defence with Libba coming back into the side. Worth going early on Sweet in Supercoach. I think you can go early on Sweet in Supercoach. I'd get him in fantasy if I didn't have to get Garcia this week. Just because the job security's there over the next month. So I'm personally not doing a boost to get him this week just because I can get him next week. And he'll be my downgrade target. But yeah, definitely you can go on him. Hi Jackson, big fan. Thoughts on JJ McCarthy as a rookie? Yeah, I know he's gonna set the world on fire this year, of course. Like best landing situation for any of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round. So, got to have big ups on McCarthy. Him throwing to Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson once he gets back. Well, it's some things to be excited about as a Vikings fan for sure. Although the big question is, will he beat Sam Darnold out in training camp? Wolf, one to watch. All right. Massimo plus Fisher to Errol plus Garcia. I mean, I don't really like Errol as an option, but otherwise seems fine. I need a forward rookie as traded Thomas and Cabin last night. Then I'd go, yeah, Biggie probably. Do you reckon Dempsey will be the sub? No, I don't think Dempsey will be the sub. From what I've heard, he won't be. Am I missing the boat and waiting an extra week on McRae and Supercoach? No, I don't think you are. Like, you can definitely wait and see. It's probably ideal. It's like the same thing with Dawson, I guess, a little bit. So 64 break even. With a 77, he goes up 6k. So if you add, say that's a 90 instead, he only goes up 12k. He'll be 492 next week. Still, very buyable. And even if he goes, low 100s, he's going to be still short or just around 500k. Like, yeah, you can wait a week on McRae. Massimo might be injured. Yeah, it's what it sounds like. Why have you gone McRae over Dawson and Walsh? I like Dawson and Walsh. I'm not sold as top 8 forwards. Although, like, of the two of them, I think Dawson's more likely to be. So I'm going McRae just as a top 6, more likely to be top of his line basically, and then use the extra cash to get a Sarong type or something like that next week. Still getting Dawson this week. Nah, only in fantasy. In Supercoach, I've got McRae for now, which could definitely backfire. Don't get me wrong. These trades have risks. Right. Oh, Cliff Belinsky. Thank you for the super chat or whatever it is. That is not expected, but very much appreciated. This might do me as the final question for the night. What's the best finish possible from someone currently ranked 38k? Hope the FTTV team will make the top 10. Lol. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually. I don't think I've ever finished top 10 Supercoach, so that would be great. Let's have a quick look at history here. I can show you some where I've been in previous seasons and where I've finished. So 2023 round 6-7, I was 2k, 3k. All right, I had a good year. Well, there's definitely some bad years in here. Hold on. All right, here we go. So round 7 in 2022, I was 28k and I finished top 2000. I think I could have done better as well with that as well. So, I think depending on how your team set up and what your cash gen's like, even at top 40k, you can still finish. I want to say like top 2 or 3,000 from here. But you got to nail trades, and I don't think I got everything right the rest of that year either. It was a pretty painful year. That year was good start by this point. 2022 was particularly bad. This got to be my worst season in forever because I got stuffed over by some of these buy changes. So what, 61k round 3, 38k in round 6, which is about where you were, and I finished top 5k. So, and that was in a shorter season. I was coming home strong. 5 more weeks, I would have caught some more. So I think, like, yeah, you can still get top few thousand even if you had a slow start for sure. All right. Well, thank you, Cliff. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in. I've got to go pick up my other kid. And I'll see you guys all for the weekly review soon. Hopefully your week goes well. My fantasy week is going to be scuffed with no Gorn. He ruins my week every week, and I need to stop mentioning it, but it is what it is. All right. Peace. Have a good weekend, all.